Thanks everyone for coming along. I feel like probably spending too much time up the front of this room. We might have to get some other AI presentations going besides myself. But yeah, today's a little bit of a break from some of the more technical stuff we've been doing. And this is sort of more of a creative session. So over the last month or two in particular, we've been doing quite a lot of sort of podcasting and video production here at the Hub, and what I really noticed is that you put a hell of a lot of effort into long form video production and video creation, but it's really the shorts that get the views. And I find myself, just in terms of my own sort of content consumption, sort of very inclined to watch short form video on the social channels that I hang out on, which is mostly X for sort of learning, and then LinkedIn mainly for professional. So I thought I'd do a session today on a tool and an approach to using AI for social video creation, because I found this to be very useful, and it's sort of what I thought was going to be a pretty painful process to take long form video and turn it into shorts. Turns out the AI tools have got so good that pretty much anyone can do it. Has anyone ever done video editing, like normal long form video editing in sort of Final Cut or iMovie or anything like that? Okay, so most of you have had a crack at it. I mean, it's a pretty painful and time-consuming process to do that, and it's just nice to see AI starting to improve that workflow. All right, so let's kick it off. My sort of general rule here is finding areas or examples where AI can do 80% of the work for us. And I think we're getting there with short form video. So AI for social video, what is it? Well, short form clips, generally best practice is under 90 seconds. We have our digital marketing friends at the back of the room who I'm sure will give us far more precise advice on that, but generally short form under 90 seconds. Vertical or square format, which I initially thought was an absolute abomination of the art form, but I increasingly realize it's a necessary evil, because people are consuming so much content on these devices rather than PC. Fast-paced, information-dense, and importantly, no filler. You'll see a lot of the ones that you watch sort of are jump cutty, and the reason that they're sort of jump cutty is that if you watch a long form, typically the video has, and I've just been watching myself interviewing people over the last couple of weeks, there's so many ums and ahs and fillers and so forth that when you remove all of that stuff, it can be far more fast-paced. But to manually edit that, human edit that, is just extremely painful and takes a hell of a long time. Captioned, obviously, because a lot of people will watch stuff and won't even put the audio on. They'll just want to see the video. And captions and the way the captions are presented are becoming a more and more important part of social video. And then finally, publishing to these platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok, and others that you might, wherever your audience tends to be. Our audience at the Hub is mostly on LinkedIn. So, the two sort of problems that I think we face are, for a lot of people, I don't know how to edit videos, and it just seems like, way too much PT for me. I really don't want to have to do it. And the second one is, I don't want to be in front of camera. I don't want to sort of have to be recorded and prepare and all that sort of stuff. And I don't really want to be a public actor. So those are sort of two problems I'm focused on helping us solve today with this presentation. I don't know how to edit videos, and I don't want to be on camera. So On the I don't want to edit videos part, AI can really help, and the new tool I'm going to show you today, of which there are many, can really make the editing process so much easier. And then secondly, I don't want to be on camera, really is about curation. So it's not necessarily video we are producing ourselves, but it's video that we are curating. Was it Jobs who said great artists steal? But we're going to be stealing in this. We're going to call it curation because it sounds more intelligent, but really we're going to be stealing stuff. So those are the two problems we're going to address. I thought I'd start with some examples that I personally find quite good in terms of engagement and in terms of the whoever the publisher is engaging me and resonating, having the content resonate with me. First is a guy who
are two things. They sound simple. They
follow on LinkedIn and on X. He's I highly recommend him if you're in digital products in any way, shape, or form. His name is Hiten Shah. Very, very good product leader and product thinker. Pretty prolific a social media guy. And his sort of, the way he does his videos are square format, and he has like a nice little template that he uses, but he's always curating stuff, and he'll curate anything from like a Shark Tank excerpt where he'll analyze the pitch on Shark Tank and sort of pick out bits of the pitch that he, almost like a critique, and then use that in his own work to sort of leverage off of that pitch to talk about what he does. So that's Shreyas, and what you can see in terms of the structure of his video is that he sort of curated an interview clip. He sort of bordered it with a bit of his own branding here. You can see there's some branding at the bottom, and a sort of almost like a watermark title at the bottom of his video and a title at the top. What that does is it makes this video pretty transportable. If you put it anywhere, you don't even have to necessarily have the text accompany it in the post. That is sort of a self-contained unit. So I think that's a pretty good practice if you can do that. And the tool I'll show you today certainly allows you to do that. So
not being very difficult. Courage and genius. Courage is the one we talk about a lot because it's the one that people can learn. Courage, which is to say not giving up in the face of adversity. Just being absolutely determined to succeed.
Watch the whole thing, but what I thought I would show you here. So Hiten is all about sort of mentoring founders, working with product leaders, and his strategy here is sort of pick and choose from podcasts, interviews, talks, etc., to find relevant adjacent snippets of content or talks that he can then use to sort of buttress his own views. So you can see, in his post here, the way he's kind of using this is he's saying, Mark Andreessen says entrepreneurial talent comes down to courage and genius. That's not listed on a resume. It has to be deep inside someone's character. I've seen this firsthand time and again. If you'd like more business tips just like this delivered to your inbox, sign up for my newsletter. So he's really using that to drive his newsletter uptake, which is a key, a lead magnet, I guess, for him, for his consulting work. If someone shared this and it sort of lost his post, it would all still convey his brand and the stuff that he's sort of selling, if you like. On X, most of the people I'm going to show you are sort of product-y type people. Lenny Rachitsky is also an absolutely fantastic product leader, has one of the leading product development communities online. And he recently held a conference, and these are some...
Taste is about the ability to identify what is really good without needing to see its results. It requires zero taste right now for anybody to say, oh, that CEO of NVIDIA is a genius, right? Jensen is a genius. If you are saying that in 2024, It actually requires zero taste because you can just look up NVIDIA's stock price. Like it.
So what he's done here, if we look through Lenny's feed, is having just created a whole bunch of content. Actually, here's Lenny's feed. Having just sort of had a conference, he's produced a whole bunch of content. Now, you're going to put that content up on YouTube, and no one really necessarily will go and watch it. But by chopping it up in this way and getting it out through his social platform, he's going to get a hell of a lot more takes on the short form, and then people will sort of treat that as an hors d'oeuvre for the long form. So here you can see on his feed lots of short form using this approach. Okay, so let's move to another example. Y Combinator uses this pretty extensively too. They are a major video production crew these days. They have a podcast called Light Cone with the general partners, the general managers of Y Combinator. They record that podcast, they produce snippets from it each week.
There's all of these jobs that people do right now, which are technology.
Watch a few small things in terms of like how this is cut, no filler, no ums and ahs.
And a new financial technology startup was the difficulty of getting a bank deal or dealing with some other regulated partner. But we're in this new...
See this jump cut there, no filler, take out the or ah, the small pause, information dense.
Era because of providers like Stripe.
You've all seen this many times, but I'm just sort of pointing out the techniques because we're going to go into those in a second. Another one that I really like, which is just massive engagement farming, is just a guy who's created the Startup Archive, and what he's doing as a way of sort of driving newsletter signups is by going through all the many sort of videos with iconic interviews with iconic tech leaders and using this technique to create 90-second short form, 2 minutes, whatever. This, for example, was a long conversation with Jeff Bezos on the Lex Fridman podcast. The nice thing is it's all valuable to listen to as tech.
$1 million question. So if I generalize what you're asking, you're talking in general about truth telling.
Yeah.
And we humans are not really truth-seeking animals. We are social animals.
Yeah, we are.
And, take you back in time 10,000 years and you're in a small village. If you go along to get along, you can survive. You can procreate. If you're the village truth teller, you might get clubbed to death in the middle of the night. Truths are often, they don't want to be heard because important truths can be uncomfortable, they can be awkward, they can be exhausting,
Impolite,
yes,
all that kind of stuff.
challenging.
Yeah.
I mostly watched this video just to look at Jeff's guns because if you remember Jeff in the early Amazon days, he didn't look anything like this. It just sort of holds out hope for myself. Yeah, but Startup Archive is really no original content whatsoever, just purely curating.
Steve Jobs is this person they should emulate, but they have a...
So you get the idea.
I'm sorry to jump in. Can I ask a little question just around using other people's content? I mean, in some ways the ship has sailed in terms of information getting out there and being able to use everything, but is there anything we need to be watching out around in the credits?
I don't know the real sort of legalistic answer to that question. I sort of take the view that the ship has sailed. I think this mostly falls into the category of derivative works and sort of is protected under copyright. So, it's not like you're taking an original work and publishing holus bolus and claiming it to be yours. You're creating a mix, a mashup, a mix, adding your own value to it. So I've never heard of anyone being picked up for curating content in this way. But, I'm not providing legal advice. But, I think, on the contrary, the original source of this mostly is happy because it's promotional for them and promotional for their, products or services or whatever it might be. But, if depending on the posture of your organization, get legal advice on whether that's whether that's allowable.
I joke that I've never met a customer who's wrong.
So another really interesting source that people use for this are Zoom or Teams or other calls, where you record the call, which these days you can do quite easily within the Zoom app or any other videocon apps. And then you actually just would feed that to one of the tools that I'm about to show you, and it'll do its thing. So there's a few different sources that aren't necessarily set up the lights, set up the cameras, do the whole thing that just feels so exhausting. This kind of can fit, I think, more into your natural activities. So we did the examples. So my thoughts are interviews, podcasts, conference talks, Zoom calls, but there are many other things that you can use in terms of video sources to curate, but I reckon those are quite low friction. And then the way I think about this is I try to find videos of smart people speaking credibly about things that are directly relevant or adjacent to what we do, and saying them in a way that I wish I had said, or that we'd said, because it's sort of brand aligned. It feels like they're saying something that you wish you'd said. It pretty much conveys the way you think about thing X or thing Y, and with a little bit of ad, you can sort of appropriate that idea as something which sort of underpins what you want to say. So that's curation. In terms of AI editing, what do we want from an AI editing tool? If we think about the most painful parts of this process, we want to really just very simply import from an existing source like a YouTube video. If you were to do this pre-AI, you'd have to download the clip. That means writing some script or finding a dodgy website where you can download the clip. You'd have to manually edit it step by step by step. First, you'd have to watch the whole thing. You have to manually edit it to find the good clips. So we wanted to automatically import, automatically select the good clips. We want to automatically edit to create dynamic multicam cuts so that it's not just a boring single cut. We want to reformat it for vertical and square formats. We want to automatically remove the filler ums, ahs, etc., which can be, very time consuming. We want to auto caption, and we want to, if we really want to spice it up, add B-roll. What's B-roll? B-roll is, if I'm talking to, if we were filming this, which we are, but if we were filming this and I was going to start giving us some element of a talk about, colonizing Mars, at this point we would cut to B-roll of a short clip of Mars and a rocket. That's B-roll. So sort of instead of just the camera on me talking, we're going to go to B-roll and talk about and show a video of whatever I'm talking about, if that makes sense. So the tool we're going to use today is, one of many amazing AI-powered video tools. It's called Opus. You can see the URL there. We're going to sign up for a free account today using our Google accounts. And hopefully we don't crash their service, because there's nearly 30 of us in the room that are going to be doing this. The key thing that allows us to do is, in terms of that first step I said of importing the video, all we're going to have to do is drop a video link here to whichever the video source is that we want to use. I tend to use YouTube mostly. And then what's going to happen, I'll quickly give you a run through and then we'll go into a demo step by step and show you how this works. Very reasonable. Yes, this is adding another SaaS monthly subscription to your already 400 SaaS subscriptions, 50% of your household budget. But when you see how easy this is to use and you consider what you would be paying a video editor on a per hour basis, which generally I don't think you'll find anyone to do something like this for less than $30 an hour, you very quickly get to the point where you understand that some of these tools are well worth the money. So what's going to happen is we're going to drop a clip in. It's going to automatically import the video, and then it's going to do a few things. It's firstly going to analyze that video. It takes a few minutes, as you can imagine. This is very high intensive compute. it's gonna use AI to firstly identify the elements of the long form video that it thinks comply with discrete subclips that would be interesting. It does all sorts of clever things, like it figures out, does this particular subclip have a hook, flow, value, and a trend? It rates those things sort of A, B, C, D, etc. to figure out how relevant that might be, scores it out of 100, and automatically creates multiple of these things that you can then go and do the 20%. So it's doing the 80, we're going to do the 20. It all drives off of the transcript of the video. Obviously, it uses the transcript to figure out what the relevant content might be from that, and then it also does a visual analysis to figure out how it might create clips that are visually interesting. And then you can see the sorts of things that we can do with each of these clips. We can go in and edit in a linear video editor, which I'll show you. We can download the HD version for publishing on social. We can directly publish from here. We can export to edit in proper video software. And then all sorts of AI features here. This is using sort of some of the latest AI voice models where you can add a voiceover. So let's say, for example, you chose a video that didn't have a voiceover, but you wanted to add a voiceover to it. You could use that. There's speech enhancement, which does some audio processing to bring the voice more clearly into the front. There's AI generated or AI selected B-roll for certain parts. You can retitle and you can change the format. Do you want it square? Do you want it vertical? Do you want it landscape? So that's sort of like a rough preview of how this thing works. If you are a little short on ideas for what you might want to use for the purposes of demonstrating this, I've just put a link in the deck there to the Steve Jobs commencement address, which you could use if you want. So just grab that URL. But preferably, if you've got something in mind, a podcast you like watching, a creator you like, or whatever, just go and grab a YouTube video URL. And let's do a little demo here. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to, let me grab the URL, drop it in here. Okay, get clips in one click. You'll see it's now been added to the queue. It'll take a few minutes. This 47 minute one took about 8 minutes to do. Let's see, we're in a queue. I haven't previously seen a queue. 40%, okay. So it'll take 5 minutes. They give you a week, pretty generous week free trial with I think 90 credits. So it's an easy one to try and get some, see if you like it, etc. There are quite a few tools in this genre. There's Descript, which is another fantastic tool. I just find this one for curating video, where you're not actually generating the video from scratch yourself, is pretty powerful. I mean, to be able to just drop a link in from pretty much any sources, I found really great.
They are quite aggressive. I just try to sign up with a disposable email through Fastmail. Sorry. So
that's why you've always got to have a burner Gmail that you just use for all of these things with sign in with Google. That's one tip for the room. So whatever your Gmail is, take your Gmail, create a new Gmail account. Don't do it now, but here's a tip, and add web in front of it. So if your Gmail is dogsbody@gmail.com, put web in front of it, web dogsbody. Create that as your burner Gmail. And whenever you're testing out new stuff, these days pretty much all of them have sign in with Google. so easy to do. Google's multi-account thing now is fantastic, where you can very easily switch from one account to another without having to log out and log into stuff. So I recommend just having a burner Google account for all of this stuff. All right, we're nearly there. So let's see what that's done and the magic of AI here. So clip number 1, facing death, a life-changing perspective. Clip number 2, how dropping out changed my life forever. Clip number 3, 4, stay hungry, stay foolish, the famous Steve Jobs quote. Find work that you love. So let's just take a moment. We sit here and it's all blasé and we look at the thing and it's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, can you believe what just happened there? It's absolutely astounding what actually just happened in the background there. The thing is, downloaded the video, analyzed all the content in the video, figured out, look at this, it's figured out, it's scored. You can see it explains each of these things to you. Is there a strong hook? So it's done the editorial work that an editorial editor would ordinarily do, like watch the whole 15 minutes, figure out which of these things, which has a hook, which might be viral, which might not. Absolutely astounding. And given us, 13 candidates for clips that we might want to go and use. That's just the beginning, because watch what happens here. So let's just...
Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death. Watch that again.
Watch what happens here. So full screen, full vertical.
Is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had a scan at 7:30 in the morning, and it clearly showed it.
Just staggering. So I would call that 80%. So now we're going to go and do the 20%. I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's click on edit clip.
And Chris, I'm following along with you, and it's given me a different but similar number 1.
Oh,
that's a good reminder that large language models are what they call probabilistic, not deterministic. So what that means is you will seldom ever put the same prompt into ChatGPT and get the exact same output. And they would have some level of randomness built into their algorithm in the same way that our friends at Springboards and others do, because you don't want everyone producing the exact same Steve Jobs clip coming out of that every single time.
Is that putting that in like order of like 1 to 7, the best clip that you probably should choose? Or is it...
You could see the scoring. So there was scoring there. So it's just ranked in terms of what they think the best is. But I mean, you should use your own judgment. So let's just look at the layout here. What we have is we have the preview. We have the captions on the left-hand side here. And you can see that they have these, it's specifically analyzed words that it thinks it should highlight. So those will be highlighted in the on-screen captions. Let's just watch it again.
Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything...
You see the almost there was yellow? Did you see that? So almost being an accent word in this particular, because almost everything, expectations, etc., it's figured out that would be worth accenting. You can see everything is time-stamped. So those are captions. There's our clip.
Well, the fact that it's captioned everything as well. So
so it's auto-captioned everything.
Can you edit the captions?
You can edit the captions. Yeah. So we'll go through each of these things now. So And remember, on the free version of this, there is a paid version that has a few more of the features, in particular removing the ums and ahs and removing fillers, which I don't think is available in the free version. But the first thing I want to show you is splitting. So splitting is just the ability, as you can see at the moment, this is just one, it's two clips. There's one at the beginning, and then there's a second clip here, and you can see it pretty much uses that format. I think there's and then it changes it goes back there. I don't like this. You can see it hasn't quite got this right. So what I'm going to do, that bottom half of that multi-cam clip doesn't really work. It's not just this like weird dude looking at us over there. So, so what we're going to do is we're going to split. You can either click split or you can hit Command B. And now that gives us a discrete clip here that we can edit. We can, of course, drag this if we wanted to make this shorter or whatever. We can create cuts anywhere with Command B. And then, we can edit each of these things as we like. So, for example, if there was some filler, we can hit Command B, and we might want to get rid of a little bit of filler or whatever it might be. So let's have a look here. So this part of the clip, I'm not really happy with the layout. I don't think this makes sense down here. So I'm going to click Layout. You can see the different layouts that it's giving us. So here you can see that the layout is fill. So if we go back to the section here, this is called the playhead. If we bring the playhead back here, you can see that the layout is fill. Whereas you can see that if I move the playhead here, you can see the layout is split. I don't quite like how the layout is there. I can preview other layouts. There's fill. There's this quite cool one called gameplay. Screen share. So let's go to split. And with split, I'm going to click on here and I'm going to click on crop. So I'm not really happy with that particular piece there. Well, I think the short part of it is it's trying to find something interesting where really the video is just focused on Steve through that whole particular thing. So let's just reset that, come out of that. And really the answer in this particular instance is just to go with fill, because there's nothing really, there's nothing better at that point in time. Same story here. So let's make that fill. And then let me just show you, you can click on here and you can crop this, and I can change the crop just by dragging this. I want to make it more central. I'll apply the crop. And there we've got our crop.
Yeah, that's what it should. You can change the zoom as well then. That zoom.
So let's go back to this one here. So I think you get the idea. Now let's just say there's a section of this bit about no one wants to die. So we might at this point say, I don't think it'll let me do it. But it has this quite cool thing where you can click on auto B-roll, and what it'll do is it'll analyze the text from the transcript, and it'll figure out where it might make sense to get some B-roll, and it'll go and generate B-roll for you and automatically splice that in, and then you can edit, move the B-roll around or change it as you like. Let's just try it. You've got two different types. You've got AI generated or stock. So AI generated B-roll. Let's just try this now.
Could you get it to get B-roll from somewhere?
It's got stock is the second option there.
So. Or one of your own.
You can.
About a year ago, I was diagnosed with cancer.
That's incredible.
I had a scan at 7:30 in the morning, and it clearly showed a tumor on my pancreas. I didn't even know what a pancreas was. The doctors told me this was almost certainly a type of cancer.
Okay, so let's just go to that. And you'll see what's really interesting is, look at the prompt that it generated. Realistic photo of a concerned doctor in a hospital office. Photorealistic, pop out or surreal, so you can change that. So I can regenerate the B-roll here just by changing the prompt. Pretty wild.
So is the B-roll a paid function?
Sorry?
Is B-roll paid function?
Well, all of this is paid, but we're just on a free trial for a week. Yeah. There's another quite cool thing that you can do, which is in the script here, there might be some other part of the video. So I'm happy with this, but there's another part of the video that I want to bring into this that isn't, it's not captured in this particular clip. You do that by hitting add section at the top here. And there's two ways to do this. You can either go and find in the video itself by dragging these two things around the bit that you wanted, or you can go to the screenplay, which is basically the text. And I can go in and say, there's a section, let me just find one here. Let's just take that bit there. I'm going to say add. And you can see this flashing bit at the beginning here. Is importing that.
I wish that for you. Stay hungry, stay foolish.
Okay, I can drag that and move that elsewhere if I want to. Just drag and drop. So each of these segments, remember, use the split tool to create a segment, and then if you wanted to, you could reorder the segments around as you like.
Stay hungry, stay foolish. Thank you. This was
all right, so next. We want to brand this thing now so that when we publish it, it's got a little bit of our branding on it. So static overlay, logo, call to action, etc. Choose file. I'm just going to go and grab a hub logo.
Is there any way you can ask it to do it within the 90 seconds? So you like the essence of the whole video that it's produced, but it's coming in at 2 minutes 43 to be able to say, I like it, I like the message, but can you reduce it?
I haven't found a way to do that, but I'll show you something towards the end that I think would allow you to do it. It's uploading. Oops. Click, resize, move. And that just persists all the way through the video so you could create something as a border or something like that, like I showed you with Hitens, where you could have some branding, you could put a title, you could put a website address or something like that. So,
Chris, can you give it some context? Like if you want to put a message across, you ask it to look into the video within the context.
yeah, so
extract,
let me go to this, and I haven't tried this yet, but let me just go to this video from the team. Actually, before I do it, I'll just show you here that if I save this.
or like the context, this is my brand, this is my company, this is what we do.
Yeah.
The most relevant part of the video.
You'll see there's a thing called Clip Basic, and there's a thing called Clip Anything. So what I'm going to show you here is the product video for Clip Anything, which I haven't tried yet, but because it's quite new.
Clip Anything is the first AI tool that works for every creator and can turn any video into viral shorts. It's our smartest AI model that can give you more viral moments and allows you to specify which moments you want to clip using prompts. Using Clip Anything is easy. First, make sure that you select the Clip Anything model and then upload your video. From there, you can either click this button and let the AI automatically pick the best moments, or customize the clips before submitting. For instance, you can refine your clips by specifying your video genre. Each genre has its custom curation strategy to ensure top-notch results. Another thing you can do with Clip Anything is that you can use prompts to guide the AI on what to clip. Here are some of the common ways to use. Clip Anything is the first AI tool that works for every creator and can turn any video into or find all the use prompts. Another thing you can do with Clip Anything is that you can use prompts to guide the AI on what to clip. Here are some of the common ways to use prompts. You can use the prompts to find a specific topic. For instance, you can ask the AI to find the parts where the speaker explains astrophysics or find all the useful tips. You can use the prompt to find viral moments. For instance, find the funniest moments or find the moments most likely to go viral on social media. You can also use the prompt to find characters or objects. For instance, find a player with jersey number 7 or find the scenes where I show the newest iPhone. After your Clip Anything project is completed, you can share your feedback with us and earn extra free credits for Clip Anything. Give it a try and let us know what you think.
Yeah, so I think with that version, there's a lot more prompt control over what you wanted to produce. And I think, Pierre, that's where you could say, I think that slider allowed you to say how long you wanted it to be, or you can, I think in your prompt, say keep it to this amount of time.
She was an AI presenter too, right?
What's that, sorry?
She was an AI presenter.
I don't know if she was.
I think she's the founder.
Is she?
Yeah.
She looks like the founder I found on LinkedIn.
She looks like an AI speaker.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the Steve one. I think podcast conversations between two or more people lends itself particularly well to this.
Some of the things we get to look forward to, fixing the climate, establishing a space colony.
Hang on, I'll just go to the edit version of this. I mean, for anyone who knows anything about building software, the stuff going on behind the scenes here, like working with video, is extremely compute intensive and storage intensive, and the speed, like to think we've got a browser-based video editor now that does this, it's just, to me, it sort of blows my mind. So I just wanted to show you, just again, you can see here, this has given me a pretty basic two-person cut on this. And what I want to do is I want to go to, I want to make this a bit more visually interesting. So you can see it pretty much keeps Gary Tan in frame the whole time, then it goes to Sam over here. So for this particular one, I'm going to create a cut. And in this instance, I'm going to go to screen share. Oopsie. Split. Why is it not working? Yeah, here we go. I'm going to go to screen share. So you can see there now what it's done is, even though I don't have multiple angles, this is just one angle. It's automatically cropped Gary for the fill. Now what I can do is for the bottom half of this, I can say, I want to sort of contextualize that there's two people having this conversation. So the screen share allows you to do that. Gameplay, a bit of a different thing. The split layout, here I could crop this and I could make it like that.
Of all of physics, near limitless
See that?
colony, the discovery of all of physics.
Quite a lot you can play with. You don't have to be a video editor to really do that. Very simple. But you can see it lends itself quite nicely to two-person type things, two-person type conversations, and the ability to keep it interesting. Let's go to AI Enhance. 3 features here. Removing pauses. 3 silences removed from the frame. Let's see what difference that made.
Near limitless intelligence and abundant energy. I do think all of those things.
See, it just previously there was a pause between those two things. Just got rid of that. Let's go to AI Enhance again and remove filler words. 2 filler words removed.
Limitless intelligence and abundant energy. I do think all of those things, and probably a lot more we can't even imagine, are maybe not that far away. And I think it's like tremendous. All of physics, near limitless intelligence and abundant energy.
So just to quickly show you, if I wasn't happy with that pause, you use the zoom tool here to be able to see what's going on. And you can see the waveform, which is the waveform is the audio form. I'm just going to hit split there. I'm going to let that load. I'm going to go to this other bit of the waveform here where there's that pause. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to get rid of that.
Now. And abundant energy.
Yeah, so no pause. Quick and easy. Again, that would take so long to fiddle around with in regular linear video editor.
Full of physics, near limitless intelligence, and abundant energy.
So you can keep it moving really quickly. You can see there are lots of settings here. You know, do you want the captions on or off? You can edit how you want those captions to present. At the moment, they're on bounce. You could make it pop.
I do think all of those...
The way that comes out, scale.
Full of physics, near limitless intelligence, and abundant energy.
Or slide up for that matter.
I do think all of those things...
So just quite a few things to play with there. You can choose different fonts, and you can even upload your own custom fonts, which is very powerful if you have a particular font with your brand. Do you want it uppercase? Do you want it bolded? What colors do you want? You know, this is a nice spot to use your brand colors. So you've got the different, where do we put the colors? So, different colors there. So the default color white, and then we do have the ability to change the other colors here somewhere. Stroke and shadows. Keyword highlighter. So in the keyword highlighter, you can change these hex colors to be your brand hex colors. Static overlay. We talked about that. And you can actually create brand templates. Where are the templates? Click layout settings. So let me show you that. Let's go to switch anyways. So now we've gone to square format.
And probably a lot more.
I actually find I've posted some stuff on LinkedIn just recently, and I noticed that at least on web, I haven't tested this on mobile, but I did it as a vertical. I don't like the way it does this. I think square might be better for LinkedIn. So just keep that in mind. But you've got different choices there in terms of how you want that to work. What else have we got here? Caption positions you can move.
Does it have a library of music that you can?
I don't think it does. But that's a good part to talk about how you might want to add your own top and tail. So let me go to import here. Let me drag and drop something on here. Okay, so I'm going to click add intro. Add as intro. Add that as intro.
Some of the things we get.
So you can bring in a little top and tail for your brand. And again, I could add that as an outro to the end. Get the idea. One more thing is transitions. So transitions are sort of like effects for fading between clips. So for example, here, this sort of makes sense that we would fade out at this point. So let me add a fade out there. I'll move it just there.
Semi-seriously now.
So yeah, so different transitions that you can use. And wherever the playhead is, the transition will be added. So again, just for a bit of visual, let's just say there was something really important that Sam was saying here. We could go with zoom in.
Things and probably a lot more we can't even imagine.
So if there was something you really wanted to accentuate, you could do that again. You can change the length of the
things and probably a lot more we can't even imagine.
So you can see you can be quite creative with someone else's clip in terms of making that more interesting. Transitions and then text. So if you wanted to add your own text to this clip, text up the top here, heading, move it to where you want it to be, click on it, and then you edit it here. So
maybe not that far away. And
you get the idea. Undo and redo buttons in case you make a mistake. Command Z or Control Z works too. Yeah, if you have a video that doesn't have audio, you can use the voiceover tool. Preview.
There's power in looking silly and not caring that you do. There's power in looking silly and not caring that you do. There's power in looking silly and not caring that you do.
So this is generate speech. I don't have voice. I'll provide the script. I'm going to do it for this clip here.
Some of the things. Listen to Y Combinator's Gary Tan interviews Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI.
OpenAI. Of course, I need to make that open AYE EYE. Yeah, you get the idea. And you can see that's been added to the timeline at the bottom here. I could shift that around. I could put that at the beginning here.
Chris, can you black and white the image? Because I believe crossing from black and white and colour in the middle of video sort of captures eye as well. Is there an ability to do that?
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
Listen to Y Combinator's Gary Tan interview Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI.
I think just A dot I dot. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Anyway, I'm not going to do too much more on that. Look, I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, you know, you've then got your clip. You can see it's producing the high res version. For the purposes of editing, you know, we're mostly editing with low res versions there because otherwise it would be incredibly slow. And then we can download the HD version of that. So download it, and then we all know how to post on social media.
The thing that blows me away is that you can do this all in your browser.
Yeah.
You know,
incredible.
You don't have to.
Listen to Y Combinator's Gary Tan interview Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI.
Look forward to fixing the climate.
The comedy potential is huge. I think if I wasn't doing this, I would definitely create a comedy studio now to use AI. It would just be like, you know, just incredible creative potential. Okay. Have at it. I think that's, you know, probably enough for everyone to have a play with. You've got access to the, oh, so sorry, just the last two things. Laying over your brand's voice, I think, is a bit of an added touch. Captions, on-screen text, add your own perspective. And another good technique is sort of, you know, framing the video with questions or prompts for the viewers. Get some engagement. Yeah, I think that was all I was going to say. Yeah, give that a try. I think very reasonable. I mean, when you see how much you could do there, and you think of what it would cost to employ a video editor to do that, it's the kind of thing we can do ourselves. And we can tell the story in our own way. So yearly plan for $14.50 a month, but start at just month by month, $15, I think is excellent value. And it allows you 150 credits. It's 1 credit per minute. So 150, what's that, 2.5 hours worth of video? You're not going to do more than that. So yeah, give that a whirl. Any questions? Any issues?
A little while ago you showed me a video you made with the green monster in the background.
Oh yes, yeah. No, it's not this. That's a different tool. But you know, I guess while we're at it, yeah, that's an AI video generation tool called Runway, and yeah, a bit of a different story, but what it allows you to do is use so there's two different ways you can do it. You can do image to video, where you give it a starting image and a prompt. So for example, what I did in that video was I'd filmed something next door, sort of just against the backdrop, just me to camera. And I took the end frame of that and I put it in this video generator and I said, a friendly green monster walks onto the stage, walks up to the presenter. And I fed the last frame of my video as the starting frame of that. And it had the monster walk on, and then it's here somewhere, I'll try and find it for you. Anyone a Fatboy Slim fan? This is a legendary story about this guy who was on the cover of that fantastic Fatboy Slim album in the 90s, who was apparently there used to be a thing that was apparently politically acceptable called a fat person fair. If only they had that now, I'd be there. But people would go, it would be like, stuff for fat people basically. And there was a photographer there who took a photograph of this kid. And it became this iconic picture, mostly because of the t-shirt he was wearing, so anyway, I did end up creating a video of that somewhere, which was a bit of fun. I was going to create this whole sort of cinematic universe about that guy, like bring him back to life. He goes on these adventures, does all the various things. Yeah, there were lots of fails, but yeah, you kind of get the idea. It's totally bizarre. Totally bizarre.
Is that an AI generated beard?
Yeah, but there was one that actually worked quite well. I'll probably struggle to find it here, but there we go. Yeah, anyway, the kind of thing that you previously have to employ an entire team of Pixar animators for to animate it, make it, etc., etc. And just another thing that you could add into a video just to make it more interesting. So if you want to have a play with Runway, you can either use first frame. In fact, it's got an incredibly powerful new capability now. Should I show you guys this? I'm going down the rabbit hole. But basically, the basic version is start frame with a prompt, or end frame is also quite interesting. So imagine that one I showed you of the person on the beach there. You could make that the end. I could make that the start frame and say. Young man dances in the waves, as my prompt, and it'll animate that person in a dance in the waves. Or I could make it the end frame, and I could say, young person beams down from space, and that's where it would end. So it would imagine the preamble to that versus the thing. So lots of fun. Now you know what I do with my spare time. But just to practically speaking, in this respect, where it's sort of interesting is we ran a bunch of podcast interviews in here last week, and one of them was with Jeremy, who runs International Intrigue, and it's a serious two-person thing, and we had this globe as a prop. So then what we did was we filmed a little bit of B-roll of the globe, and then we used this to animate. You can see that one did okay, but not particularly well. But what we wanted to do was sort of animate something into the video as a sort of Easter egg that just made it more interesting. So here we go. And it's actually so accurate from the picture that we had that if I cut that in as a bit of B-roll, it's sort of like someone will go, how the hell did they do that? Sort of just as part of the conversation. Anyway, it was part of an experiment we were doing in here to get the idea. All right, let's go and have a barbecue.
Thank you.